Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today we have a lesson on theory, on like a general theory and chord scales. And the idea here is just in general, also with some more lessons belonging together, to also kind of develop a theory which is maybe a bit more kind of universal, so not like specific to one particular culture, but more in general. Think about think more about music as a whole, and finding like criteria also which seem, or like parameters or things which seem to be really like very important, like generally as a kind of a backbone of maybe all different kinds of cultures, or find certain things where we can say, okay, for example, that element of harmony or scale or rhythm or microtones in that culture, they work it in that way, and in that other culture it's working in a kind of a different way, like that. And but it's actually quite related, because for example you have a kind of like the overtone or the harmonic series which all different cultures have to relate to. Yeah. So it's today's lesson will be like also another like a piece of the puzzle. You can say it's like also kind of a process to maybe get more like a structured, or like a more maybe scientific step-by-step approach to really find like a systematic, or like an order, how all these elements and things are working together. Or I mean, just at least we also had a lesson about the 9 elements of music, for example. This was another thing where we try to really find the elements in music where all music is consisted of. So we try to in a way we try to see the whole thing. And then when we have kind of a structure, and we know what the whole thing is consisting of, like maybe we can divide this whole thing into 9 elements. Then we can go deeper and look at every element and see what's how this element is actually behaving in these different cultures. So it's a more scientific approach, you can say, but for me, I feel it's kind of a necessary thing, because I mean I feel the necessity of that, because I'm also like busy with very different kind of musical cultures, but I always feel actually it's just one thing. The whole thing is just one. It's all so much connected, and but sometimes it seems very separated, very much apart. And of course, when you are busy more on the surface, of course, then you think, oh, this is like complete different music. This is like so strange, and I don't understand anything. And this is real music, because this is real because I understand it. For me, it's real. And this separation, actually, I think this not really exists in this kind of a dramatical way. I mean, all these different cultures, they are really connected. They all deal with the same kind of things, with material, with rhythm, with harmony, melody, with texture, and timbre and dynamic, and they mold all these different elements in their particular way, and maybe they have a very strong emphasis on like one element, and really go into go into that element, and all the other elements are like more like supplying or adding some different different things to that. But another culture has an emphasis of a different parameter, and that's why it's not possible in that field to go as deep as another culture would go into other parameters. I hope that's clear anyway. And you also have a PDF, like 2 pages. Down in the description below is a link, which it would be great if you download that. Also, we will actually go through this PDF now. I will read it, and I will add some explanations as we go. And so if you download that, of course, this supports the channel. This would be really cool. But also you can follow along, and maybe also make your own notes if you like. So we go really into that. All right. So let's start. We will not play anything. I will just read through that, and you will and will explain something if I think it's necessary to explain, or if I have some more ideas about the whole thing. Okay, out of all possible tones of a tonal system, which differs of each culture, like we have this 12-tone equal temperament in a Western harmony, Western European classical music, and we have the 53 equal temperament in Turkish Maqam and Shrutis in Raga music. Out of these tones of that tonal system, we choose a tone pool to make music of it. It's a bit like painting. The colors used are just a selection of colors from the complete color spectrum. So that's a way actually you can really see it. You can see we have the whole spectrum. Every culture has a different fineness of this spectrum. Like we see like the whole spectrum in 12 shades. Like just the plain notes, we have like 12 colors, whereas in Turkish classical music you have actually like 24 colors, but these colors are of course like a selection of the equal, actually really fine division of the octave, or you can say the color spectrum, into 53 parts. So the Turkish Maqam music, the tonal system, they divide the octave or the color spectrum, as we should now say, into 53 equal parts, so fine graduations of color, and then they choose the 24 colors which are not quarter tones. That's very important. This is not an equal division, these 24 then, which they choose the colors to make up the whole repertoire and improvisations, everything of the Turkish classical music, the Maqam music. And then you have like Shrutis. Shrutis is something like not very scientific. It's really like more a practical idea, practical concept, which nobody really can explain like really like in a mathematical way. It's really, you have 12 tones, the same as in the Western music, but you have certain shades of certain notes. So there might be a little lower minor second or a little bit higher minor second, and they say like you have like 22 shrutis, so 22 notes. You have the 12, and then this maybe 10 variations, sort of. But yeah, actually, if you see this as a color scheme, you can say these are just the same as we have in the Western music, 12 colors, and some have also little like shades. Okay, and that is a description of like all the notes there are in a tonal system. Like that's really the everything, like the whole complete tonal material. And out of that material, of course, you rarely maybe choose all colors. Yeah, this, of course, this happens. Yeah, I mean, when I'm just thinking about 12-tone music, it's really like using all colors in a very quick succession. But succession, yeah, like they follow very, very quick. But the idea of that conception actually is to more or less destroy the feeling of tonality, and that's like something very, very special. You know, that's like it's an I would say like a very artificial and really like how do you say, like a scientific idea, or like intellectual idea. How can we destroy tonality to make something different happens? And of course it, as I think, and many people think, it's actually not possible to destroy tonality. And of course not. When you deal with intervals, you always have tonality. But yeah, it's like a real heavy, you can say it's a really heavy attempt to get rid of tonality. Yeah, so you really have to create a completely new concept, which is mainly really focused on eliminating tonality, and so working against nature law, you can say. That's maybe the concept. I'm not against it. I actually, there are some pieces and some composers like Webern, for example, I really like also. But actually, I'm not really listening to that music much. But I studied that, and I also sang these melodies when I went to Berkeley, and had like atonal solfege and stuff. Okay, so the idea is actually, like in all cultures, we have this complete set of colors, the tonal material, and then, or the material scale, you can say, and then we make a choice. Then we say, okay, we want to create this kind of a picture, and we take these kind of colors to create that picture. And this choice kind of always comes down to a sort of scale. Either pentatonic or heptatonic or some weird other forms. So it's like the completeness of the whole color spectrum doesn't really give us anything. It's just it's just everything is there. It's really the choice which actually makes things. It's a little bit like you are a sculptor and you have a rock, and then you put out like stone of it, and then it will end up with I don't know, like a head of somebody, or like a whole person or whatever, and it was always the same rock, but you took out like different stones, pieces to make like different images. And so the rock in itself is just a rock, you can say. It's not really like it would be not music if we just put all of the tonal material together, and it's not like it's not there is no musical choice, you can say. Of course, the tonal system is already a musical choice, because there are much more possibilities of taking different notes, but that's another thing. Okay, so the idea is you have this completeness of all notes, and then you take a scale out of that. You make a choice. Yeah? So mostly actually you have like a scale of 7 notes. Or in some like Asian cultures you have also like pentatonics, or also maybe in African music sometimes. It's 7 or 5 notes. Okay, there are some additional things here. yeah. So and when you choose a certain number of like 5 or 7 notes in the form of a scale, then this is like your tone pool. Yes, your tone pool. So this is like the material you need for for your piece, for your composition, or for your improvisation. Okay? But of course, that can change because music is not like a static picture. Yeah? Because there's this idea of colors. This really has to do with a picture, with one thing. But music is happening in time. So actually we go from picture to picture to picture to picture to the next picture. It's always like moving. It's always evolving in certain kinds of or developing in certain kinds of ways. So that we can say at a certain moment, which can be longer or shorter, we are dealing with a particular choice, which is our tone pool, which is our scale. Out of that scale, we might just took like just a few notes, just a little bit, like just maybe I could try it like a chord or a little melody of 5 notes or 4 notes or whatever, like an arpeggio. And so we don't have to show the whole scale, but the scale is actually the whole tone pool. That's where we are choosing our colors from to paint that picture for that moment or for that maybe longer period. It depends. I mean, for example, in Raga music, you sometimes choose for like 7 different notes and you play them like for maybe 1 hour. Yeah, in different ways, and always like in a way also keeping like the root the same. So your choice is in a way very restricted, and you don't alter that. It's not, of course, it's not with every raga like that, because some are really changing through different notes, and there are also different techniques like Mishra raga and Ragmala and these kind of things where you actually change. So it's not like in general in Indian music like you have just decide for one scale. Your choice is just these 7 notes, and then you stick to that for the whole piece. No, it differs, but it happens. I mean, it's quite often that happens, that you stick to a certain pool of notes. All right, then you see like these 4 points. These are the different ways how this tone pool can change. And the first is nothing changes, like what I said with Indian raga music. You just have the scale and the root, and everything stays. Yeah, the tonic never shifts, and the tones you never leave your 7 notes. Then it's possible to actually stay with the same choice of notes for like a scale, like a tone pool, but you shift the tonic. Yeah, you might choose a C major scale, but at a certain time you are like you showed a lot of C major and C as a tonic. You shift to maybe G mixolydian, which is like the same notes, but the tonic or the temporary tonic shifted. So all the relationships will change, but of course not your pool of tones, not your tone pool. Then you have the possibility to alter notes. So you stay with the same tonic, with the same tonic pitch, and that's That's always the case in Indian raga music. Your tonic, your sa, the root, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, like the do, is never changed. Maybe for the lifetime of a musician, of an Indian raga musician, you never change the tonic. It's always that string on the instrument. It never changes. But of course, the different ragas and different scales and everything, that changes. So point 3 here is you leave you leave the tonic, you don't touch the tonic, it's there, but you change notes. And that's like in Indian music, it's for example like rag mala, what I just said, mishra rags, or like certain rags like desh or kamaj or tila kamot, where you use like a major seventh in the ascent and a minor seventh in the descent. So that's kind of very quick changes between like two actually scales, like actually two tarts, you can also say, like these tarts we talked about in Indian raga music, like in this case it would be like a kind of mixolydian, like a kamaj, and like a bilaval, which is major. So like a kind of a quick alternation between these two tone pools, but at the same time keeping the tonic. And then the fourth possibility, of course, is to change both. Yeah, so we change the tonic, we change our point or note of gravitation, of gravitational like attraction. So our point of resolution also, we change that. So everything is changing or developing to something else. And then also we change the notes, some pitches, at least one. Yeah, so that happens like in Western harmony, when we, for example, when we are in an A minor piece, and we play a melody which is like Aeolian, yeah, with a natural F and natural G, and then suddenly we go to the dominant chord, then suddenly our E is a temporary tonic, it's shifted. Yeah, A is not anymore the tonic of that moment, of that also that scale. Because that scale will maybe now be like harmonic minor fifth mode. So instead of the G, it will have a G sharp. Yeah, so it's E, F, G sharp, A, B, C, D. These are the 7 notes. Yeah, so one note changed actually. So we have a different tone pool, and also the tonic of the moment changed. Yeah. But still, these are of course like very related, and of course you have a lot of you can have very, like for example you can have a C major scale, and then suddenly you have a G flat major pentatonic. So it's like you shifted all notes, it's all different notes, and it's also a different tonic. I mean, like a tritone away. So it's like point 4 has a lot of. There are a lot of variations, and you can go really out there also. Okay, so let's go on with this PDF, with this text here. As soon as we have a tonic or tonal center, relationships manifest themselves and functions are created. Yeah, that's clear. So we make a tonic, we say this is a tonic, and this implies that that's also like the resolution note of all the others at that moment. So so whenever we play a different chord or different note in relationship to that root or to that tonic, a function is created, because relationships also imply there are functions. Yeah, like a dominant tonic or a subdominant to dominant, or a leading tone, or whatever. I mean, it's just you have one note which feels more resolved than the other, or you have a certain kind of tendencies in the scale or tonality where you where like a certain note really wants to go really strong. Yeah, and I like this picture actually quite this metaphor or this idea that music being like a miniature of the universe, because there you also have all these gravitation things working, and some notes are stronger, some are less strong, there's this gravitation working and so on. We talked quite a lot on that subject, so I don't want to go too much into that now, but for me that's something very, very important in my approach or my idea or philosophy of music. Okay, so you can have actually different like fabrics, fabrics like heterophonic, homophonic, polyphonic, monophonic, so like just one melody, or a melody with chords, or like more melodies at the same time, or one melody in different variations at the same time. These are like different fabrics, different kind of textures, which do not affect actually that there is like a certain tone pool happening. So you can, this tone pool of a certain scale can take many different forms of texture. You can make two melodies out of that at the same, and playing them at the same time, or you can stack them up in only thinking in vertical arrangements or in horizontal arrangements, and or both together. So, but you always have for a certain period, and sometimes it's very small and sometimes it's very, very long, you have this scale happening, this tone pool. So for these two notes you sing that tone pool. For these 10 minutes you sing that tone pool. So you can always analyze something for the tone pool. There's just like two exceptions for that, which are basically the same. One exception is if I'm doing a slide, especially on the sarod, so like no notes in between, no frets. It's just I show all the notes in between, for example, a C and a D. All the notes are there. I do a very slow slide. Then I would not consider like every little ant, every little microtone at every millisecond as a new tone of my tonal material. It's just, I'm thinking D, a C and D, and everything else in between is just a kind of a how do you say, like a transition from one to another, or just it's not about these microtones in between. It's just these two notes. I'm just syncing these two notes. And the same thing is actually in a more tonal sense, but it's still the same. That is like adding chromatic passing tones. For example, you have something like a bebop scale. It's like mixolydian. It's like da da ba dia da ba da da dia da dia da da, and you do like a chromatic thing, like da 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 ba di da 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 ba dia di da da dum da dum. Like for example, C, or let's take a C. Oh, it's a C. Great. C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, B, C, C, B, B flat, A, G, F, E, D, C. So you call this scale, actually. You call this bebop scale. But actually it's just a Mixolydian scale. That's your tone pool, but you add a chromatic to it. And this kind of chromatic approach thing happens very, very, very much in jazz, yeah, where you can approach like every note, mainly like the basic triad notes, in a chromatic way, yeah. And that is more like kind of embellishment of the actual tone pool, or just like how to progress from one note to the next, and you just take like a step in between. So it's just progressing, and it's not about all these every chromatic note has to make a scale, which usually it doesn't. It's a bit like you have two colors. You have I don't know, like yellow and red, and then you put them next to each other, and maybe that's like a watercolors, and they go a little bit together and form this little orange maybe area. But the main things are actually the main areas, or bigger areas, is like you would say it's yellow and it's red. And when you look closer, okay, there's a kind of a transition there. It's like an in-between thing happening there. But it's not something you may consider as your main pool of colors. Maybe that's a silly explanation. I think you know what I mean. So it's like even if you have chosen a certain tone pool, a certain scale, you can still do like little notes, to put little notes in transitions which do not affect actually the scale. It doesn't change the scale. It's just enrich the scale. It's just playing in between notes, which are really audible as in between notes, not as like scale, like tone pool scale notes. All right, so let's go to page 2. Yeah, right. And also this, what I just said, actually, this idea that when you have chromatic, you have the same letter, the same note, the same letter note, like for example A, in different variations. So for example, an A and an A sharp. That really says, there's chromatic happening, and that is something what you normally avoid. Like when you say you have a certain longer or shorter time frame in music, then when you see there's an A, and then when you see there's an A sharp, you would think, okay, there's something different. It's a different chord. It's a new scale. It's maybe a new tonality even, and to have that at the same time. Yeah, you have an A and an A sharp together. That's really rare. Yeah, I'm sure in a lot of music it's forbidden, but of course it happens. It's not that it never happens. I mean, of course. I mean, for example, in the dominant sevenths in jazz, sometimes you put the flat 9 and the sharp 9 together. Yeah. But these are more rare, and these are really like maybe also sometimes you can say that's a mixture kind of a thing. That's like two scales together, or on that occasion it's a sharp 9, and then just a little bit later it's a flat 9. So whether to really put them together in one scale is another question. Of course, in jazz it's because also jazz is dealing with quite some like chromaticism, and also like really high tension melodies and chords. I mean like of course, like also when you have like this idea of about like this Messiaen scales, which sometimes have like 8 or 9 notes together in one, or 10 maybe also notes together in one scale, of course. But that's the field of chromatic, and that chromatic field. I would not really consider that too much as really this tone pool scale thing. Yeah, it's a bit like an exception. And also when you have certain modes which have more notes, you very often you're not showing them at the same time. You're dividing that. Okay, at that occasion I show this flat 9 chord, and then I later on, maybe just a millisecond later, I show the sharp 9, so that they're really together. It's not so often. I mean, just let's say it like that. And most of the musical cultures, they avoid that. So they have just one A, one kind of a B, one kind of a C, and that's it for every, of course, period of time where to choose from a different tone pool. Okay, and this selection idea, you have the whole complete tonal material, then you take a tone pool, you just select like maybe 7 notes which you want to use for that moment, and then out of these 7 notes you make another selection, and you make a triad, a chord, or a melodic fragment out of that. So yeah, that's a process. You're until it comes down to that one note, you can say, okay, this is the one note. Where does it coming from? Yeah, this is a third of a C major arpeggio. Okay, all right. Okay, and the C major arpeggio. Yeah, the C major arpeggio is actually it's coming from the C major scale. It's that is meant at that spot here in the music. Okay, C major scale. Okay, which tonal system is that? Okay, it's a 12-tone equal temperament, so we have actually 12 tones, and we have chosen these 7, or these 3 out of 7, or this 1 out of 3. Yeah, so that's a process. Okay, there is this when we read on, there's this a gain is a loss, and that's actually really what I talked also at the beginning about the different parameters, and that you go for certain things. For example, in Western music, we go for harmony, we go for quick modulations, for all these chords and stacking up notes vertically, and for doing that, we made our tonal system extremely simple. Yeah, just having 12 tones spaced equally is very, very simple. Yeah, it's maybe the most simple tonal system in a mathematical sense, and also in the variety of pitches. So we thought about, okay, we will really go for harmony, for modulations and polyphony and everything. So it's like this aspect is really, really strong, and it's a height also in the different cultures of the world. But then you have like Indian music. Indian music is very much emphasizing rhythm also. But at the same time makes this tonal pool like raga quite simple, and also never changes the tonic. So it can really elaborate on rhythm, because it also this concept of T-high. You repeat a certain phrase and then it will resolve at the end, and it's the repetition of the same phrase. So you have to make sure that the tonal material is not changing, that you have to do that at the same time while changing chords. So if you not change the scale, if you're not changing chords, if you just stay on one thing, you can really go into the rhythm. You don't have to care. You don't care about like, oh, now I have this chord, or now I have this chord, or now this note is forbidden, or whatever. Yeah, and with Turkish Maqam music, that's also like, okay, it's rhythmically, I would not consider that as very like a height of development. Of course, like a lot of like odd meters are used. That's right, but they are really pretty straightforward, and you do not really think too much about like what you can do with that, how what are the subdivisions, how the different microbeat speeds, and how like everything, like in Indian classical music, it's really like it's amazing. It's really difficult actually, but Turkish music has maybe the most sophisticated tonal system. So I would say that the emphasis is more on the different shades and the different qualities of the different microtones and pitches. And it's purely, you eliminate completely the element of harmony. So you have a lot of possibilities, because you don't have to, you don't care too much about how notes will sound together in a harmonic way. Interestingly, but you come up at the end, you come up with a lot of like pure intervals according to the harmonic series. But when you take a certain like maqam, like a certain scale, and you want to build chords on that, you really have to be careful. It's not possible to, for example, to do like a triad on every scale degree. Some will really sound very bad actually. It's really about this melodic, this horizontal element, to also these shifts of temporary tonics, temporary roots, like this karar and asmar karar and like güçlü, meyan and whatever, that you shift. You're always shifting from note to the next note as a new next like tonic, like temporary point of gravitation. These kind of plateaus happening in Turkish Maqam music, or in Arabic music too. And so it's about like progressing, but at the same time having these microtonal, all these shades of different notes. And there are of course some scales which are not possible in the Western 12-tone equal temperament, and also not in Raga music. There's some notes, these Western and Indian cultures they just don't have. They can't make certain scales. It's not only about shades. It's really there are some scales which have notes which are kind of in between our like half step, and which is really important for that scale. Like Uşak and Hüseyni, for example. These are like very typical Turkish maqams, or like also Sabah, of course, and Nishabur. These I would consider as, you can't play them in an equal temperament. If you do that, it will end up with some completely different thing, with maybe Dorian, or like maybe Phrygian or something like that. Maybe more Dorian. But anyway, that's a different story. So and I put also this metaphor, which a bit like negative, but you can see the whole thing. Like you have music, and it's with these blind people and the elephant. You know, this metaphor where like you have like 5 or 6 blind people, and they should go to an elephant and feel what an elephant is like, and then come back and tell everybody what an elephant is. Yeah, and so it really it really depends what part of the elephant. It's like the tail or the nose kind of thing, or a leg, or the ears. So really depending what everybody felt and recognized in some kind of a way, they would like describe the whole thing in complete different ways, you know. But actually it is all the same, and it's just different parts and different parameters. I would always say in music it's just about like different parameters. You see it from a different perspective. You look more from this harmonic perspective, or you look more from this microtonal perspective, or in a linear way, or in a rhythmical way. It always gives you a different perspective, and so the music will develop in a different way. But actually, at the end, it's just everything. It's just the same thing. All right, I think that was a good end for the lesson. Please, if you like these lessons here, don't forget to subscribe and also click the bell button to get notifications when a new video will be released, which is the case every week. Download the PDF to support my channel also, and then you have it also like in a condensed version written down, what I just told you. Or explained. And also there's a possibility to donate. Just go down in the description below. There's a link to my website, huphildenbrand.com, and there's the academia page. There you find a button where you can also donate. This would be really cool to support my work here, to support this channel, that the whole thing will go on, because there's a lot of stuff still to cover. There are a lot of topics waiting in my behind this thing here in the back, and they want to go out. They want to go out into the world. All right, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. My name is Hup Hildenbrand.